understanding why stitches fall off the edge sometimes. You can see here that the knife is here, and what happens is the fabric gets cut by the knife, it feeds under the foot, and it goes back to the stitch finger, where the stitch finger lays down the stitch. And that stitch finger there is in a direct line with the knife. So it cuts it in the perfect place to lay the stitch on the edge. But sometimes when you're sewing something like a knit, the stitches fall off. And why is that? Well, as it feeds under the foot, when it's very stretchy, it sometimes stretches under the foot. And what happens when you elongate something? It narrows. So it narrows as it's feeding under the foot. So when the stitch finger goes to lay down the stitch, it's falling off the edge. So what to do about it? What the machine is really saying is, I need differential feed. Remember, the differential feed is going to feed more fabric onto the feed dogs and under the foot. And what that's going to do is it's going to compensate for the stretch. So that's your solution, just to put your differential feed to 1.3 or possibly higher. Try it at 1.3. Sometimes people suggest changing your stitch selector to B, but that's really like putting a band-aid on it. It's not actually solving the problem. The two other times when it's a problem is if you are holding onto your fabric as it's feeding. The feed dogs are really efficient. They're much better than you, so don't pull on your fabric because that will stretch it. And the other time when they could possibly feed off is when you're working on a curve. And that makes sense because it's going to cut the fabric here, and as you go round, sometimes it causes the curve causes the stitches to pull away. So that's unavoidable when you're working on a tight curve, except that you may have stitches falling off the edge. But if it's just a straight line and it's a knit, think about your differential feed.